These birds remember faces. They hold grudges for years. And once you've made an enemy, you're not dealing with one of them. You're dealing with the family. I wake up at my desk again, third time this week. The case in Africa keeps me up at night like the boogeyman scratching on the closet door. My secretary Jess walks in and hands me today's case file.
You're gonna want to see this one, boss.
I open it up. It could have come from anywhere. The city grime falling from the pages tells no secrets. A glance at the first page gets a laugh out of me. Reports of organized crime activity, witness intimidation, aggravated robbery, possession of burglary tools, and racketeering. I know this crew. The lab coats call them corvids. The rest of us know them as crows. Most of the players in this city rely on brute force to make a living. Claws, teeth, speed. But not them. These perps squeeze out the competition using cunning and coordination. I pick myself up out of my chair. These birds have been busy. This is a story about a gang of unassuming birds that lie, cheat, steal, and outthink everyone in their way. This is the story of the family in black. First charge, witness intimidation. Crows have been doing this for a long time, maybe even to you. First documented case came across my desk in 2008. The brains up at the University of Washington were studying the local birds, to each their own. They had to trap and band a handful of crows so they could be tracked after release, standard procedure. Problem is, crows don't want to be caught and handled, and they have a memory like a loan shark. This leads to unpleasantness like crows following their captors around campus and dive bombing them. Makes life difficult. So the lab coats came up with a tidy little plan. They wore masks during the trapping. Caveman masks. Not something they'd normally wear, I hope. They figured the crows would associate the caveman mask with the rough day. The scientists could take the mask off and disappear back into their normal lives. The plan worked, but then things got weird. Weeks later, one of the coats walked across campus wearing the mask as a test. Got mobbed. Crows dive bombing him, cawing, the works. Made sense. The banded crows remembered and wanted to get even. But it wasn't just them. Crows they'd never seen before were attacking. Crows from other parts of campus. Crows that couldn't possibly have been there during the original trapping. Somehow, word had spread. If you see this guy, get him. So the lab coats kept testing. They wore the mask, got attacked, wore it again, got attacked again, year after year, 3 years, 5 years. Like waiting for the bus, you don't know when it's coming, but it will eventually. The mask was like chum in a shark tank. Everybody wanted a piece. The entire local crow population, hundreds of birds, in a territory miles wide, all of them knew that the caveman face was an enemy. Some of them had hatched after the original trapping. They had no memory of the masks, no personal experience with the bad humans, but their family had taught them. Turns out a crow clocks your face with the same kind of brain wiring you use to recognize your neighbors. Different evolution, same trick. Generation to generation, the grudge was passed down, and the bird remembers. Moral of the story? Don't harass a crow. Second charge, aggravated robbery. Most thieves in this city work quiet, not this crew. They use force, they use numbers, and they don't care who's watching. Like plowing a stolen garbage truck through a jewelry store window at noon. Watch them work a parking lot. True professionals. One on lookout, the rest going through your truck bed like they've got a warrant. Thing is, the family's more than happy to rough up a mark to make their score. That's the aggravating factor. They'll literally rob the shirt or fur right off your back. That deer's got premium nest goods ripe for the taking, and this family member from across the pond wants a taste. They'll run a gambit on anything with a pulse, even things that can chase back. Here's a scene that runs on repeat someplace every day. One crow walks up behind a seagull and yanks its tail. The gull spins around to deal with the insult, and before the gull knows what's hit it, the bread's gone. Out the back. Bird on bird smash and grab, just like they drew it up. Or is it? Here's where the lab coats start arguing. We know these birds can run a syndicate. Stick 2 of them in a room with a job that only 2 beaks pulling at once can handle, and they figure it out. No instructions, first try. But whether they know they need a partner, that's murky. They won't always wait for a bagman to get in position. They don't seem to want the other guy so much as not mind him being there. So is the goal count a planned hit with assigned roles, or just one crook making chaos and another getting lucky in the spread? That case is always open, like a burger joint in the seedy part of town. That's the thing about this family. You can watch the crime and still not know if it was a conspiracy. Third charge, possession of burglary tools. The family doesn't just use muscle, they have brains to match. There's a branch of the outfit in the South Pacific, a little place called New Caledonia. The swindlers here don't break doors, they pick the lock. Meet the family's master thief, the only animal besides us known to craft a hook in the wild. You're probably thinking, okay, neat trick, so what? Thing is, nature is like a bank vault, full of valuables locked away in safety deposit boxes. A grub buried deep in a log, for instance, can't be reached with a beak. So they build a tool to crack it, snap a twig, work it into a hook, fish the prize right out, carrying a purpose-built jimmy, possession. Here's the part that caught the authorities' attention. One of them, a bird named Betty, was handed a straight piece of wire, no twig, no instructions. She bent it into a hook to lift a treat right out of a tube. The lab coats called it genius, a flash of pure insight. Then the truth came out. Bending tools into shape is something this branch does naturally, out in the streets, all the time. That means we don't have one prodigy on our hands. It's the family trade, passed down the line, like a bloodline of safecrackers where the newborn gets a blueprint instead of a rattle, and the old heads teach them how to lift a score while they're still begging to be fed. But the slickest job's a different one. Put the reward floating in a tube of water, too low to reach. The bird starts dropping stones in, 1, 2, 3, raising the water until the prize rises to the lip, cracking a safe using the safe itself. Now that's a neat trick. Here's the catch, and the lab coats are honest about it. Make the puzzle obey weird rules, hidden connections, counterintuitive plumbing, and the bird flunks. Even a master thief has a limit when the house rigs the game. Not impressed? They've got the physics of a sharp 7-year-old human. A 7-year-old who can already pick your lock. Fourth charge, racketeering. Every charge so far has been the family working in the moment, like a pickpocket working a crowded train car before the next stop. This last one's different. This one they plan before it ever happens. This grift is run by the heavies of the outfit, the Ravens. Same family that never forgets a face. Turns out they don't forget a place either. These are the ones the old stories are built on. Odin's spies, the birds in the tower. When the family needs a job that takes foresight, this is who they send. Here's the setup. Out in Yellowstone, wolves make kills. Big ones. Elk, bison, cracked open and left in the snow. And the Ravens are always there, working the carcass before it's cold. For years, the working theory, mine included, was simple. The Ravens tail the wolves, follow the muscle, wait for the kill, move in for scraps. A shadow job. Makes sense. The wolves do the wet work, and the Ravens can't tear through a hide that thick on their own, so they let the pack open the safe and skim off the top. Then the lab coats put GPS trackers on the whole operation. 69 Ravens, 20 wolves, 2.5 years of every move either side made, logged to the minute. And when the data came back, it threw a 20-pound wrench into the theory. The Ravens don't follow the wolves. Hardly at all. They're not tailing anybody. What they're doing is colder. They've got the whole territory memorized, like a card counter the casino can't catch. Every flat, open stretch of grassland near the water where the elk go down. They know which corners produce bodies, and they fly straight to them, not following a kill, waiting for one. They'll cross the better part of 100 miles of wilderness, 6 hours, non-stop, to a patch of snow where the killing hasn't even happened yet, but they know it's coming. That's the charge, not theft, racketeering. It's knowing the layout of the block, stalking the corners where the bodies tend to drop, and turning the wolves' violent habits into a permanent, daily payout. Once a raven's in the zone, it listens for the rest. A howl, the chatter of other scavengers, and closes in. The pack thinks it's hunting alone. It never is. Somebody read the map first and got there early. Maybe the family won't rough you up or crack your lockbox. Turns out they don't need to. They know what you're going to do before you do it, like a poker player who knows all your tells. The family in black. For millions of years, they've been building a criminal empire. Every continent except Antarctica has a chapter. 100 plus species, all with their own angle. They remember every face that ever wronged them. They'll rob you blind in broad daylight and build tools to crack what they can't reach. They already know where you'll be before you get there. They take what they want on their schedule, and nobody has figured out how to slow them down. So next time one looks at you a little too long on the sidewalk, remember, it might be taking notes. The file stays open, maybe forever.